Who the heck is Moon Knight? I actually reacted to the new Moon Knight trailer the other day, and I went into the trailer not knowing who Moon Knight was, and I left the trailer not knowing who Moon Knight was. And I imagine a lot of you out there are wondering the same exact thing. So naturally I was intrigued to learn more about this character, so that way I had a brief understanding of what I was getting into when this show debuted in March, and I went into Google search, typed in who is Moon Knight into the search bar, and then Marvel of course already predicted that most people would probably not know who this character is, and created a full breakdown article describing everything you need to know. Instead of making you go read this article yourself, what I did instead is I did all the work for you. I went through this article and pieced together something for this video, so that way you can actually have a better understanding of the Moon Knight character before you go watch the show yourself. If you want to go read the article for yourself, I left a link for it down in the description below, but otherwise, let's go ahead and analyze this character and figure out who he is. Moon Knight's name is actually Mark Spector. Spector was raised in an Orthodox Jewish family in Chicago. Spector has dissociative identity disorder, which gives him all these different identities and is directly linked back to a traumatic event that happened when he was younger. To deal with the effects of this traumatic experience, Spector sought a career as a heavyweight boxer, a gun for hire, and he had a real creative side that sparked some Hollywood dreams. There's no telling how many identities he actually has, but he has 3 clearly defined ones that actually have particular traits. Hollywood's elite producer Stephen Grant, which is actually the person that we're introduced to in the Moon Knight trailer, Jake Lockley, who's a cab driver who's also the father to Spector's daughter Beatrice, and of course the vigilante Moon Knight. Spector's main identity is Moon Knight, and he's a mercenary by night who is brought back to life by the Egyptian god of the moon, Khonshu. While on soldier's assignment in Sudan, Spector witnessed the murder of archaeologist Dr. Alores, and his killer was Raoul Bushman. A noted terrorist mercenary, Raoul's behavior horrified Spector, and Spector tried to go after him. Spector's second encounter with Raoul did not go well, leaving him dead in the tomb of Pharaoh Sidi Il. In the tomb, a statue of Khonshu reanimated Spector with the vengeance of light, and he became Moon Knight. So what type of hero is Moon Knight? Moon Knight is definitely an anti-hero character, and he does not have a problem with bending the rules to just get the job done. In his Marvel comic debut, Moon Knight was a muscle for hire to take down Jack Russell, who was known as the Werewolf by Night. After a 3-night battle under the light of the moon, Spector managed to drag off Russell after using a silvery weapon from his utility belt. But of course, since he has the anti-hero mindset, bringing the kid in front of his clients didn't sit well with Spector. So Moon Knight refused the payday and instead set the kid free. Moon Knight has been a member of the West Coast Avengers. He's had all sorts of run-ins with Daredevil, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and he's also been a member of the Secret Avengers. He's also teamed up with Spider-Man, Deadpool, and the Punisher. Does Moon Knight have any specific superpowers? In his initial contact with Khonshu, it's believed that Spector received some superhuman boost to his reflexes, durability, as well as his strength. A lot of these enhanced abilities are dependent on the phase of the moon, but without them, Spector is an expert hand-to-hand combat fighter, as well as he's a former Marine and a CIA operative. When he's under the identity of Lockley and another alternate identity of Mr. Knight, he excels at detective work. Lastly, of course, he has a superpower deck when it comes to his endless arsenal of themed weaponry like a golden ankh, scarab darts, grapples, as well as the mooncopter. Who does Moon Knight work with, aka who are his allies? Marlene Alarin, who is the daughter of the deceased archaeologist from Spector's time in Sudan, is one of the most consistent people in Spector's life. Upon their return to the United States, the two began living together in Stephen Grant's mansion, and Marlene was a confidant to the Moon Knight's work. While Marlene fell in love with all of Spector's identities, she had a special relationship with the Grant identity. She's also the mother of Jake Lockley's daughter, although this was kept secret from Beatrice to protect her from her dad's dangerous life. Frenchie is the best friend and Moon Knight's personal pilot for the mooncopter. Frenchie met Mark Spector during his fighting days, and a set of common interests pulled them together into a partnership. Frenchie has acted as the getaway person for the Moon Knight character during his early missions, and is also responsible for the Vigilante's fully stocked arsenal. Gina Landers is the owner of the Other Place Diner in Brooklyn. Gina is a friend and informant of Jake Lockley and is not aware of any of the Moon Knight hero stuff. Crawley is a philosophical homeless man and one of Gina's regulars, and is an informant for Lockley, but was later pulled into the whole Moon Knight world once, I guess, some other things started going on. Who are the enemies to the Moon Knight? Raoul Bushman is one of the main antagonists for Mark Spector, and he has to deal with him time and time again. Spector finally caught up with Bushman and made him pay for all the blood he's caused, and he ended up beating his face into a pulp. Raoul Bushman didn't stay dead for long, and he was actually resurrected by the Hood's underground empire. Randall Spector is a mercenary known as Shadow Knight and his brother to Mark Spector. Unlike Mark, Randall has a taste for killing innocent people, and at some point or another, he was blessed with some supernatural abilities that were linked to Khonshu, and he was taken out by the Punisher, and again later by his own brother Mark. That was definitely a lot more than I anticipated, but let's compare this breakdown and synopsis to some of the things we got in the trailer. The first thing we know for sure is that we got 3 confirmed identities. We got Stephen Grant, Mark Spector, as well as Moon Knight. I find it interesting that Marvel gave us the Stephen Grant character first and then mentioned Mark on the phone. I don't really know why they did that, but I'm wondering who's going to be the predominant identity when we actually get the show. show. From the full list of allies and enemies, I'm very curious to see who's actually going to be the main antagonist and who's actually going to be helping Mark Spector during this show. But of course, everything's going to be revolving around these Egyptian gods, and I wonder if actually, speaking of that, Randall Spector is going to be the main antagonist. But I digress. There's a million ways this show can go, but I'm really interested now, especially now that I know a little bit more about the Moon Knight character. But one thing for sure is that this show definitely gives me some Inception vibe, where we're kind of going to be on this roller coaster, and by the end, I think we'll have a really good story. So now that you know a little bit more about the Moon Knight character, are you more excited for the show? Do you still not understand what's going on? Tell me what your thoughts are down in the comments below. But anyways, guys, that's it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.